How's it going, everybody? Lately, I've gotten a lot of questions on DJ cartridges and needles. What should I buy? And my answer is always, well, how do you want to use these needles? Because it's a very important question. They're also asking about elliptical and spherical styli. So I'm going to try to clear some of this up today, put it in a video, so next time somebody asks me this question, I could just kind of send them the video. And also, the emails that I replied to some of you with who asked these questions, I think I gave you the wrong answers. Today I'm going to give you the right answers. I did some research, found out I was wrong, and I'm going to give you the right stuff today. So if I screw up and anybody knows better, leave it down here in a comment. But I think I got it right this time. So I made some dodgy diagrams. I'm going to show you a few different needles, a few different cartridges, and what their advantages and disadvantages are. So let's do this thing. In dodgy diagram number 1 today, we're going to take a look at a record. This is a record. It's basically a round thing with a hole in the middle. But there is a valley, a long, windy valley in your record. That would be the groove, going on around and around and around and around and around until it ends. Now, if you could cut this record in half and turn it on its side, we got this little dodgy diagram up here, which is like a cross section of the record itself. Valley, 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 a series of valleys. Now, if you could zoom in with your magnifying glass and look at these valleys, they're not perfect little triangular valleys. They actually have lots of bumps and holes on the sides, on each side of the walls of these valleys. Now, when your needle hits these bumps and holes, it creates a vibration. And the vibration is interpreted by the cartridge, goes up your tone arm, into your mixer, and gives you some tunes. Now let's take a look at a couple different needles and how they work inside of these valleys. Before we get into the different types of styli, let's get an idea of what a styli or needle looks like. Now here is a short white label cartridge. If you look really close, right here, there's a little sucker sticking out. That's the styli. This part of the styli is called the cantilever. This is the part that sticks out. If you look at the bottom of your styli, you'll see a little sharp pointy thing. That is the diamond. Here's another cross section of it. You can see the cantilever and the diamond. Now it is a real diamond. It's not a bling bling diamond, but it is a real diamond. It's probably not pretty or anything like that. It's worthless for the most part. It's an industrial diamond. Now what happens is this diamond rides in the groove of the record. It hits the little bumps and valleys and creates vibration. This vibration travels up the cantilever into the cartridge through a series of magnets and coils and springs and bearings to produce our sound in the record. This is a very exaggerated diagram. I'm a terrible artist. Forgive these sketches. They're just to kind of give you an idea of what's what. First, we have an elliptical needle inside of a groove. The elliptical needle hits a lot of surface area, as you can see here and here, which means that it's picking up every little valley and bump to sonically produce some beautiful stuff out of a record. Here's a spherical. Spherical means round, so it's more rounded, and it's only picking up here and here. It covers less surface area, so sonically it doesn't sound as nice as an elliptical. Who uses what? Well, elliptical is fantastic for audiophiles, meaning somebody with a really high-end stereo at home and they listen to a lot of jazz and classical and master recordings. Elliptical is definitely the way to go. For DJs, we typically use spherical. And the reason being is, notice how much surface area the elliptical covers. We already talked about that. The spherical only covers here and here, which isn't a lot. However, it means there's less record wear. All the back cueing and scratching that we do, if we use elliptical, we'd wear out our records super fast. Also, the good news is spherical is much less expensive than elliptical. Now let's have a look at some cartridges. Here's an old school cartridge for you. This is a Stanton 500. For years, every DJ I knew used a Stanton 500. And notice it's on an old Technics 1200 head shell. The Technics 1200 would come with the head shell, and you'd bolt your own cartridge to it. This is the only thing we used to have were these style of cartridges that screwed on. good, solid cartridge. Produces a nice sound. Here is a Shure white label. This is a new design. Kind of cool. Looks like a cockroach to me. It's got these little pinchers here, and the needle is between the pinchers. You can really see where you drop this on a record physically. So that's a nice thing. Here's an old Stanton Trackmaster. This was one of the first cartridges I ever bought, and I like it a lot. However, the needle got busted off there by my daughter years ago when she tried to put this needle on a blank platter and then did a backspin, and then ugly. Yeah, I wasn't too happy, but I think she was only 2 at the time, so I couldn't get too mad at her. Here is an Ortofin Concord. Nice cartridge. Kind of that finger style, like the Trackmaster. Pretty nice cart. So what's the difference if all needles are spherical? What cart do you get? It's all personal preference, folks. Some cartridges are better than others. Some sound better than others. I was always kind of under the impression that something like the Stanton 500 would be really good for scratching because the center of gravity is pretty close to where the style eye is. So you got a lot of downward pressure, and you want that because you don't want skating or skipping when you're scratching. But having said that, Hubert, who's like Mr. Scratch, he's got an Ortofin. He endorses it. It's got his name on it, and it's this style of cartridge. So maybe it really doesn't make a difference. Whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe you don't want to buy the cheapest thing out there. Maybe you don't want to buy the most expensive thing out there. Maybe you want to go middle of the road. Try something. See what you think. Ask around. I like the Shure white labels. I think they produce a really nice sound. I think the Concords produce a nice sound too. It's a different sound with the Concord. There's more mid in the Concord. Where with the white label, it's more high end. And it's nice bass. But it's all personal preference. All needles are spherical for DJs, so the rest of it, it's up to you. There you have it. I hope this video helped. Practice and enjoy.